Hiya, I thought I'd come on camera today as it's been a while. I hope you are well and I thank you if you get a chance to watch this video. I thought I'd talk about mirrors, mirrors being a metaphor for the way, because I'm also looking down at my notes, if there's from time to time you see me off camera, it's the way we see the world and the lens of ourselves and other people are only mirrors. I thought I'd choose this topic as increasingly in the online space, social media, and also in film, we're having our behaviours mirrored back to us, whether we're conscious of it or not. Conscious being we are aware, we know, and unconscious we are unaware. And I'm helping to support with this live a reasoning behind why you might want to take a look at what is being mirrored for you as an invitation to build your awareness to what needs to be changed if you're getting undesirable outcomes, results, and it's not giving you what you want. Because presumably, if you're following me and watching me, there is a desire to change. At least you want to change, but you're not sure where to start. So basically, as I mentioned, mirrors as a metaphor. It's a reflection of the reality and how we perceive ourselves, and more often than not, it comes from a place of distortion or illusion or illusionary. What do you mean? It's not real. It's not necessarily real. So it's unpacking that for yourself with whatever comes up for you, because the state of where we are is not normal, and it's important to know that it's not your fault. It's not something that we're necessarily educated on. However, that said, we need to take responsibility for our information gaps. This is where we seek to learn. And if you are interested in growing, part of growing is investing time, energy, intention into where there are gaps, so you can start to develop in the areas that are known to you need to develop in, and also the ones that you're unaware of in the moment, so that you can move towards more desirable outcomes and results. So please stay with me. So how you see the world is going to be a combination of childhood, past experiences, all the experiences, if you take the judgment out of it, good, bad, right, wrong, it's what is, programming, conditioning, and societal expectations that all matter, because they've shaped how you see yourself and how you relate to others in the world around you. So the more you get to understand what it is you're seeing and start to see that there could be a possibility that what's reflecting to you is information, data, if you look at it as data collection, and start to work out for yourself is this really what I want? What is desirable to me or wanted? That's the other word I meant to say. You might then see what it is that needs to change, and understandably seeking support for that will be beneficial, because there's aspects of growing and learning that cannot be done alone. What do I mean by that? As much reading as you can do, as much courses and trainings you can take, if you miss out on the doing aspect and the integration, the embodiment of those things that need to be worked on, that needs to become part of how you operate in the world. So that's mentally, spiritually, and physically and financially, you will find yourself blocked or stuck, and that's okay. There's people like me who are coaches or therapists. There's also modalities that you can use to help you as you progress yourself through your changes, because sometimes it's more likely than not what you bump up against you'll need guidance and support on, so that you can move past your blocks, you can move past what is keeping you stuck in patterns of behaviour, habits and cycles that are what feels like makes you feel powerless, or giving you a sense of you can't change it, you don't see what's limiting your ability to make the changes you need, because it could be either based on fears, insecurities, self-doubt, etc. But this is not necessarily for the purposes of this live, because if you've been following my content and following it for a while, you'll be coming across pieces, blocks. There's some spaces where I go into more depth, there's others where I don't. I give an overview, but they should all tie together. There's commonality, because essentially I'm coming from a place of doing the work, having done the work and still doing the work on myself. So I like to bring into it insight, and it's probably a good point to go into where I discovered for myself the places where I wasn't taking responsibility and accountability for my actions, my desires, my wants, whether I was meeting my needs. So when I took a closer look at that, and this requires like zooming out, taking a wider view to gain new perspective, and also take on board from professionals, and then reflecting back to me how I was perceiving the people, places, things in my world, I was able to better understand how I was showing up, how I was operating it within it, so that I could change my mind about the people, places, things to progress myself. So my willingness and my readiness for change was there, and that took time to develop. So it's because I mentioned on my post on Facebook, I wouldn't necessarily mention it here because I don't tend to drive the content here because I have low engagement on my Instagram, and that's okay. I have more so because on Facebook, because I am aware people watch me, they don't always engage with me online, but they do engage with me in person. They might say, hey, I saw a video, I've sent it on to my daughter, or because again, I'm here to support women. I know men watch me, watch my content, but I'm here for women because that's a perspective I share, and also there's deeper reasoning behind that and my choice to support women in this space of coaching wellness, which I'm certified for. And obviously I bring in and try and blend as much as possible my other life experiences and my knowledge and skills, because I'm always developing myself. So when I say take a hard look at yourself, it's self-reflection, which is very powerful and underrated, because when you can ask yourself deeper questions, is it based on the world you're seeing and how what's being reflected back to you by people, if you think of them as mirrors? Is it based on emotions or feelings? Is it mindfulness? Are you aware, or is it mindless? What do you mean by that, Karen? Anybody that knows me, I did operate mindless. I was unaware to the degree I was, and I was just making impulsive decisions based on the emotional state that I was in, and it wasn't actually serving me. So I was doing things like going out because I was avoiding the discomfort of being in my feelings, understanding my emotions so that I can name them, label them, acknowledge them for what they are. They were telling me, the data, the information, and then to make course corrections, because like I said, you cannot change what you're not aware of. This is what I've said in previous lives, and the benefit of insanity is doing the same thing expecting a different result. I can't say that enough, because when you start to discover for yourself, oh well, I seem to have a pattern going on, because you observe more instead of absorbing what's going on around you, because you're taking a step back, you're slowing down. These are the sort of self-care. You slow yourself down, you're more contemplating. Then you start to see things differently. I've also got the other tools which I mentioned in previous lives. I haven't mentioned for a while, journaling, which is really useful. I go back over my journals because I have got a number of years behind my belt in journaling. So let me take a look so I can make the point land my plane, as they say. I started to understand I wasn't necessarily operating with logic or rationale. So I wasn't, in other words, applying critical thinking to my decision making, my choices. I was just reacting. I was just impulsive in some places. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, these are my responses. So I changed how I responded, and it also there enabled me to change how I was responding to certain environments. And that also helped me to see there were some environments that just wasn't for me. I didn't find them supportive. I didn't find them nurturing. What was being reflected back to me helped me to draw the conclusion that weren't for me, it wasn't serving me, so I could let it go once I surrendered to what is. So it's understanding the hidden forces, because they are hidden forces, of what you see, because they're influencing your desires, values and pursuit of success. It's really important to understand what that means for you, because I'm going to say it again. It's understanding the hidden forces of what you see that influence your desires, your values and your pursuit for success. Sorry, that came out wrong. Success. So like your wants, because it could be you're not meeting at a basic level your own needs. It could be you're chasing things that actually are not aligned, not purposeful, not meaningful, not fulfilling. I know that was true for me when I took a closer look at what I was engaging with, what I was participating in. That was draining me. It wasn't energizing me. So I didn't have any space to cultivate my goals and do the habits that I needed to create what I wanted to create. So again, some insight for women, because that's who I'm ultimately talking to. It's blending the philosophical. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Philosophical. I really need to learn to pronounce words before I go on live. Note to self, Karen. And spiritual perspective, because these are bending the world. They're there. And the interesting thing why I suggest those is it's shaped in a very from a masculine perspective. So the work for us women is to really detach from that, decenter, and to move forward in our understanding of what our true desires are, what we value, what success looks like instead of what's being projected onto us. And that's got us caught in conforming to what is not actually naturally feminine. So I'm going to leave that with you to sit with, because it's going to take you to look for yourself what I'm talking about. I've got it in pockets, but if you really want to pull together, it requires you to take an even wider view from what you're seeing in terms of mirrors, understand the reality of the world that we live in now and what's being reflected back to you through people. So what are you saying, Karen? It's uncovering the societal conditioning that has us trapped in cycles of self-sacrifice, emotional disconnection, which is also linked to emotional dysregulation. It has us in fight, flight, freeze, fawn. I would say for me, people pleasing was a big thing, which ultimately leads to self-sabotage, and constantly striving for external validation. That's key, because as you develop and understand your nature and also your biology, because it's scientific as well, you start to understand that seeking external validation is never going to give you the result that you want, not the result you think. And that's where you can be having a reflection back of low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-love, because in actual fact, those things are not within you, if that makes sense, because you're looking for it outside and then you're wondering why you're not getting it back, because it's really for you to develop within yourself, which is why I'm encouraging any ladies watching this to take an honest appraisal of what's going on and then seek support, which I can help with in developing what you're seeing for yourself is being reflected, or you don't understand it. So you may need to seek clarity. And the best clarity is going to be mental clarity, free from depression or anxiety, because one's about your past experiences, not letting stuff go, the resentment, the anger, and the anxiety, jumping into the future, false evidence, parareal, or it could be justified, and that's okay, but it's understanding the difference, which is why mindfulness work and mindfulness-based practices work, because it encourages you to be present in the here and now. So the relevance of what I'm talking about here is it's impacting your choices and your decisions. So if you're on autopilot, you're not aware and you're just doing things, which is the large majority of people, they're just not understanding how they're operating in the world, how they're showing up and how that impacts them in profound ways, because that it does, then it's taking responsibility and accountability and giving structure, because that's also what coaches do. We give you processes, tools, techniques, and that can only be discovered through the conversations that we have, which is why sometimes the work is ongoing. It's not indefinite, because something I'm always been from the start of becoming a coach is I don't create an environment for dependency. It's really so that you could go out there and do for yourself, because I can't do it for you. No matter how much you may want to take away from taking responsibility and accountability and not doing the things that you need to, it doesn't absolve you. It's really on you to take responsibility for your previous actions and your choices. That's adulting. So during this, I would invite you to make peace with what is and offer yourself compassion and empathy in your experience for the insights that you come across, and also what you're fighting against. Because again, people are mirrors, and when I started to see a reflection of certain things, which are parts of me that I wasn't acknowledging, or my deepest fears, my insecurities, my self-doubt, it gave me some insight into the limits that I was bumping in, the box I was in, so that I could start to break out of it, because the box is a mental kind of prison, so it doesn't feel, it's not real, but it is, if that makes sense, because if you're operating from that space where I can't, it's not available for me, or you don't think you deserve better, a better life, better things, because that could be the dialogue that you're unaware that's consciously going through, that's playing out. And there's other stuff that contributes to that, which I won't go into now. You're just not reaching your potential, not being purposeful and meaningful. And that's also a frightening place to be, because it means you're controllable by others. because I have mentioned it a few times, I'm going to keep on mentioning it, we're living in a world where dark psychologies are at play. We're being socialised and we're in systems and that are not designed for us as women. And it's really understanding the ways that you could be oppressed and repressed in your experience to start to get out of it and reclaim your power, because you do have a lot of power, you just may not be aware of it. So it's exploring what you've yet to acknowledge and how to integrate it, and then embody what you need to embody. Because this is why I call myself an inner freedom and embodiment coach. I'm thinking about changing, so it might make more sense to others. That is something I'm playing about with. But as you know, the topics I talk about: wellness, happiness, mental fitness. So again, how I work as a coach is it's conversations. It's also giving you an exploration so that you can start to have structure. You have support, accountability, help you develop the muscle for taking responsibility. Because again, you will come up against what's uncomfortable, and it can be discomfort. It does cause discomfort making changes. So as a coach, I can give you some insight into your deepest fears, insecurities and limiting beliefs that keeps you in a box. So there's stuff that you could be avoiding that you need, again, to work on, and maybe don't know where you need to start. So it's being self-reflective and it's developing that muscle, because if you don't, it gets atrophied. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. So it needs to be exercised, and how you exercise it is by taking steps, and so that you can release the negative emotions, because we're meaning-making machines. The meanings that you placed behind events, circumstances, situations, and to diffuse it, take the negative charge out of them. Any resentments you carry, whether you're aware of it or not, they're there. It's not possible that you don't experience anger. Anger is normal. It could be reactive in the moment, but what I'm talking about is from the past, stuff that you haven't dealt with that may be unaware that that's there, so that you can move forward to your purpose with greater peace and clarity. I've got a feeling I missed something out here. No, I haven't. This is why I take notes. So, what are you suggesting you do? I've given some journal prompts. If you go back, take notes. I've not just said it in that form. I would like you to take some time, and I would suggest sitting with yourself for a period of time, whatever you need, carve that out for yourself. Practice the pause, reflect, and assess the value of what you truly want, because only you can answer that. I as a coach can help reflect back what I'm hearing, so something lands for you, because in life it's about connecting the dots. That's your responsibility, that's not anybody else's. So you start to challenge the mirror in the reflection of what you're seeing, and are your goals aligned with your core values? I've done a video on that ages ago. I'm not going to talk about it now. I invite you to look at that. If you need clarity, get in touch. And embrace the moment to clarify your vision, because it's going to enable you to take corrective measures. once you understand, got some insight into your missteps, your, I'm not going to say mistakes, but that you, if you, depending on how you look at it, what went wrong, what didn't work, your outcomes and results that are not desirable, not wanted, so you can move more apologetically into what is wanted, so you're moving towards your vision. I'm doing it all the time, and it does require you to change your mind and to be willing to grow from a place of discomfort, because it's not being comfort, because the problem with comfort is it keeps you stuck. And sometimes what we're comfortable with is not actually healthy for us. It's actually causing us harm. And when you start to acknowledge that, as I did in my work, you can course correct and course correct powerfully. I would also invite you to consider the people you spend the most time with. Are there these values being mirrored back to you, the values that are important to you? And reflect on what emotions or feelings that you have been, or what it is you've been avoiding. I know there's been stuff I've been avoiding that I now look at, I now address that, because I've got this capacity, because of the stuff, the junk, the BS, which is belief systems, bullshit, that I needed to let go of. And that's available to you too. So it's really important to reflect, building your self-awareness muscle, self-reflection, because you'll start to see how much illusions can distract you, and it's costly. There's some things that can't be replaced. Time is one of them. But I want to encourage you that it's never too late to do this kind of stuff. So resources, journal prompts, I've mentioned it. I've given you a strategy, so to speak, for, take a look at the world, what's being reflected back. I'm going to mention, because I haven't mentioned it for a while, Outwitting the Devil, the book by Napoleon Hill. I have a daily habits group. You're welcome to join that. There's resources in there. And mindfulness group, the richness of life. And of course, there's the one-to-one strategy call you can have with me if you're open to going deeper. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you, those that kind of fleeted in, that's okay. But I assume you're here because you do follow the videos at some point. I hope you have a good evening.